So for some reason, we've got a Bolt Report special bill. This strange old Australian guy is talking about stuff. What are you talking about? Oh, I think he's talking about stuff that I probably agree with him on, because this is what Sky News Australia do. They position themselves in all the places around the world where people will be like, yeah, that's obvious what he's saying. That's obvious what he's saying. Yet the rest of the media are saying the opposite everywhere around the world.
It's astonishing how dangerous it is for women to say they're against encouraging children to be given drugs and even surgery to turn them into the opposite gender, if that's actually possible. Or even for women to say that they still...
Well, that was a little bit of a... I mean, he had about 13 seconds to break it down. Let's hear how he did again, because I don't think he did very well with this. I don't think he did very well.
It's encouraging children to be given drugs and even surgery to turn them into the opposite gender, if that's actually possible.
So he's put out there if that's actually possible. Like, oh, I don't know if that's actually possible. You know it's not possible. You know it's not possible. If you're feeding this sort of stuff to kids mentally, you're working off psychopathy and you're a psychopath yourself. That's what's going on. So if you don't know, then and you say that out loud, oh, if that's even possible, I don't know if that's possible. Is that possible? If you can't make a decision on that, you're going to have a hard time in the future, because this whole thing is about, you know, the trans issue really exposes people's weak arguments. That's what it exposes. It exposes when people pretend to be on the side of something. You ask them any more detail and they crumble. And they're hiding behind popular ideologies.
Or even for women to say that they still want safe spaces for born women, like how about toilets for a start, or change rooms?
Again, right? Okay, so they've mentioned the first thing, and then said the second thing. The second thing is safe spaces. This is the most important subject, and it is right, definitely 100%. There needs to be safe spaces for women only, born women only, born women only. It has to be. There has to be. If someone wants to live in a way that is outside society, you cannot expect society to change really quickly, with the downside being that women no longer have safe spaces. And there's another problem here. They're talking about women's safe spaces, and I agree with that. But you should be talking about the safe spaces of little girls and little boys. That's what you should be talking about. It's these guys, a lot of these guys, they're not targeting women first and foremost. There's a load of the really nefarious. I'm not saying, of course, I'm not saying all transgender, but we're talking about the minority of people who will dress up in a way to be able to access the bathroom of an opposing gender, put them at danger. We're not talking about people who actually feel any type of gender dysphoria at all. We're not talking about any of those. We're talking about people who manipulate the rules, whatever the rules may be, new rules especially, rules that haven't been enforced before and are suddenly being enforced now willy-nilly. These people, this very small minority, use that to target women and young girls. And I think the first protocol should not be talking about all the safety towards women. It should be the safety of young girls and children. Then it should be the safety of women. Then it should be the safety of minority groups, or the dysphoric, I suppose. Then men. I don't mind being at the end of that. But as long as you don't treat all men the same. Some men have anxiety issues, they have problems, they have disabilities, they have all different types of things. We can't continue treating people as stereotypical under the genders. And that's kind of why we've got here, isn't it? It's because we're stereotyping underneath the idea of what gender is. You have to be a boy or a girl. Okay, so what do you get from that? A fractured society where they say, oh, you could be anything. No, you can't be anything, and you're not just a boy and a girl. You're a guy with different a range of traits, and you're a woman with a different range of traits, and they come out and manifest within your character and within your body in different ways, don't they?
You just think of the abuse copped by Maura Deeming in Victoria, Catherine Deves, New South Wales, or J.K. Rowling over in Britain. Here's another example. Melissa Ferguson is a councillor in country Victoria, the La Trobe City Council, and she posts stuff on her personal social media account that were deemed harmful to the transgender community. Another Latrobe City councillor asked that Ferguson be...
Was it, was it something that, what was it? Well, because you can have certain things that are harmful against the transgender community. Of course you can. You could have posts that say, hang 'em up high. You could have posts that say all of them must, rhymes with the last word. Or you have posts that which encourage some sort of hatred and violence towards them. But what is dressed up as those things is never those things. It's just criticism of the other side manipulating children so they could chop off their willies. There's a load of them, but like, we want our gender in, so we're going to show that the next generation can be formed into this thing that we want. Come here, kids. Come here. You, what do you feel like? You feel like a woman? Yes, that's because you're a woman, isn't it? It's a minority, but it exists, and it is publicly noticeable now.
Investigated for breaching the code of conduct through a supposed misuse of social media. An independent arbiter was called in. That arbiter said yes, Ferguson had broken the code and forced her to make a formal apology at a Latrobe City Council meeting last week. Councillor Melissa Ferguson joins me now. Melissa Ferguson, thank you so much for your time. What crime are you supposed to have committed?
Oh, come on. You can't ask a potential criminal what crime they meant to commit. Surely she's just going to say, I was too beautiful. I was too gracious.
Well, the allegations, obviously, that have been put before me is that my private Twitter account was somehow framed to be a personal attack on the community, which is against everything I believe, because I am for community.
Okay, what does that mean? You're for community? What if you weren't for community? What would you be for anarchy? I think anarchy has community anyway, doesn't it? Because that's how you leave me aloneism, but you need other people, so you interact in a way that suits all of you, which most people want. They don't want to have people in their lives all the time. They want to have a certain level of control over interaction, but I think what she's referring to is the transgender community. And that trans community is fractured and divided in many different ways.
And it's been brought forward, and it's obviously gone through the arbitration process now, and they've identified that that is offensive to the trans community.
What's offensive?
Now, one tweet you're supposed to have said that you retweeted, you didn't write it, you retweeted it. Predators are hiding behind the rainbow and using it as a shield to prey on children. What's the point that you're arguing?
Oh, God, man, there you go. So basically, she said, hey, the predators will hide behind something that's colorful and nice and sweet. That's what they do. And it is what they do. Why do you think we got the idea of who predators are? They hide behind the sweetest banners they possibly can, and then they're going to try and rape your children. This is listen, I don't only do NEWSPASTE, I do some serious stuff as well, you know. I do the podcast and things like that, but I also do NEWSPASTE, and I can tell you what, the things that these people share and do are horrible, horrible, the worst things you could possibly imagine. The people who are targeting children, worst things. And they will do anything. They will go out their way. They will dress up however. They will try and target any safe space they can. They will hide behind rainbows. They will hide behind singular monochrome. They will hide behind black and white. They will hide behind whatever to get to your children and rape them.
Doing there.
I believe that people who are predatory on children will be in any sector of the community. I think it's dangerous to believe that any sector of the community is immune. And I think that it's
I love Melissa already.
Parents are aware.
Well, she's the least pasty person on NEWSPASTE. That's for ages.
Specifically, I guess, about the predators in the rainbow community. But
the thing is there's predators within. Of course, there's going to be predators within straight, gay, bi communities. There's predators, or they're predators. We're aware and we have like some sort of like understanding of the spaces and where they're going, you know. We understand limits and boundaries already. It's set in naturally. This is a game changer. Guys being able to dress up as women and just identify as that, and then getting into women's safe space. That's a game changer. We've never had that before. Never. When like, you know, people were against gay people, and there was a lot of violence and what was homophobic sentiment in public. It was still never that. It was still never that. This doesn't, you know, it was like gay people within the community who love each other. This is like, now we're gonna split. Like, this is cross gender. This is cross sexual. This is cross all of these things. You're stepping across multiple boundaries, not just one or two. It's not just about. It's like sex and gender is two different things. Sexuality and gender, and you know, what we've got here is something that we've never encountered before. So if you're hearing me and you're saying, but this is what the gay community experienced, go and do some research, because this is not what the gay community experienced. That is a sentence that is said to stop you from supporting the safe spaces for children and women, because it's such an important argument. As soon as you get muddied in the water, you forget about the kids, you forget about vulnerable people straight away.
My question really is, why is it up to the council to police what you write on your private social media?
Well, why is it? This is happening all over the place now, isn't it? We're going to watch whatever you do, and then we're going to comment on it, or you're going to get a reprimand. What did you write? Why did you write just, I hate pasties, when we are all pasties? You understand what this is going to do for your career, young lady.
Well, I would like to know the same thing also, because I believe that you should be able to exist as a human being outside of your role. I believe people were led to that. It did not have an organic following. It was actually completely unused until the first moment I used it to comment on another thing, and it had not been even utilised before that.
I agree.
Oh, they were clearly watching you. But how is that against any rules? I don't get it. How can they have dragged you into the council's?
So already what we've got is she'll retweet something from somebody else, and somebody else said she retweeted that on her own personal. I'm going to go to the council and use that as a form of virtue to get her removed, probably because of other reasons, not because of anything to do with transgender stuff. Or alternatively, it's a pro-trans campaigner who's going out there and uses complaints, virtue, troublemaking, and stalks people, harasses people, so that they can try and prove a point which is made by the fact that that's the only they're the only person who's doing those sort of things. If there was someone doing a counter job, that person would also find that they've got a lot of stuff in their closets. Everybody does. Everybody has stuff in their closet.
So this is what you said. What next? What you go and say to picnic? What you go and say in your kitchen?
Yes.
What you go? What is this?
That is exactly why I agreed to this interview. I thought long and hard about it. Anything I say by some people will be wrong because they want me silenced. That's no way to live as a human being. But
a human being! Oh my God, I knew it. They were human beings. No one puts beans in my pasty. Peas only.
Things that concerns me. I mean, you've got an arbitration process, which I would like to see the political leanings of all the people that have had arbitration brought against them. It's a rather effective political process, but I'm not sure that it's always best for the community at large. I have a very
no. I looked up the background of the hand-picked arbitrator. Why did you apologise? She found against you. I was totally not surprised, even though I don't think it's right that you should have even had a hearing. But why did you apologise?
Yeah, now this is a problem. This is a problem. Why do you apologise? Because I had money on the line.
Because if I don't follow the dictated sanctions, that is then the applicant may then apply for serious misconduct.
And you might lose
at
money.
that's worst, it could be you could be fired, I guess. And
yeah, and you don't want to stand up for your principles enough that you would have to be fired. Do you know? My life would have been a hell of a lot easier if I had been a journalist for the mainstream. You know, if I had said something out of line and they'd brought me in for a disciplinary and I turned around and all right, well, I'll never say it again, officer. I was wrong, I say out loud. And then they keep me in there, don't they? They keep me in the company, but they'll never let me rise to the top. That's the whole point is that you corrupt yourself, and what good does it do? It means that one day you get to a point where someone asks you, well, why did you apologize? And you have to say, because I decided I was gonna bend over. I didn't think they could see inside me enough, so I thought I'd bend over and let them get right inside. Because well, pasties.
And my council role is my only means of income. I need to put
Fair
food
enough,
on the
but
table
still.
for my child, and I don't want to go down these avenues. Obviously. So I felt that by my legal advice that I'd received was to state that as it's stated.
That is still, you're not going to change the system by doing that, and like on the unofficial stage saying all the truth, and then on the official stage saying the opposite. History will see you as not being coherent, won't it?
Therefore, the serious misconduct process may not be then followed, because I have followed the instruction, but I also have made it very clear in both of these dictated apologies that I also reserve my rights while seeking more legal advice.
Well, I have to say, if you look up on the clock on the wall, it's gone 4:20. That's a very sad time. So maybe that's why she's a little bit blurry at the moment.
Now, they say, well, look, you were speaking, you know, people might have thought you speak for the council. I think you'd have to be brain dead to think that something you post on your social media or retweeted on your social media accounts was you speaking for the council. I mean, that's I think.
On why would everybody on the council have to speak the same anyway, all with the same voice about anything in life other than what the council work is? And you know, with ideology, you're not allowed to have another ideology when you join up, and then you have to pretend to be someone else. You're choosing to pretend to be someone else. I'm about to lose my job, so I decided not to do that, and I decided that instead I would just capitulate. That's what I decided to do. And did we get change? No, we didn't. We didn't. I'm crying actually right now.
And it's simply ridiculous. But you were even ordered to get reprogrammed, you know, brainwashed.
Whoa, yeah.
You had to attend diversity training to improve your conduct as a council, particularly in relation to the LGBT.
This is a white person. This is a black person. Do you know which one commits more crimes? Welcome to diversity training. Yes, it's all the white people all the time.
LGBTQIA plus community. Are you going to go?
But by the way, the white people probably do commit crimes. It always makes me laugh because we criminal bunch, man. That's whites, we can't stop it. We burn things down, commit war crimes, people traffic, do all this stuff, or sell people into slavery, into all types of debt. Oh, white people are criminal all over the place. The difference is they get away with all their crimes. That's it. White people get away with loads of their crimes. So yeah, of course, we're probably more criminal.
I'll have to see how far I can go with my rights and the laws, and what will happen in that space. It's an advantage to some that I may be in a lower socioeconomic bracket, but you know, I find it patronising. I've worked with people of all genders, and I've even worked with trans people who I got along with quite fine. It's quite a personal attack on me as a person.
I find this. All of this stuff leads people to having bad interactions outside because they're already divided. I talked to a friend the other day who was really offended by the fact that I'm not down with the transgender, and he's gay, and he was like, "This is what they did to the gay community." I hear it all the time. Hear it all the time. It's just not true. It's just not true. And you know, it takes a little bit of time for everybody to see what's going on, but if you've watched closely for long enough, you've worked out where the boundaries are now and where the lines are, and you need to be on the right side of history.
But as the arbiter sees it, any retweet is an endorsement of their thoughts and therefore mine. I don't feel that's correct.
Wow. So I retweet something because it's shocking and that makes it my thoughts. Oh, that's big danger. That's big danger. Real big danger. We should go back through oh, that's really weird. Does the arbiter have a Twitter account? Can I have a little look through and see if I can misconstrue her rubbish? Because that's what she's doing here.
In fact, if anything, a lot of the tweets were academic papers. As a mother and just as a naturally curious and philosophical person, I like to look up academic papers and study about subjects, especially if they're affecting my community. But somehow a lot of that has been submitted as offensive as well.
Well, academic papers are pretty offensive, especially in the modern COVID era when the academic papers have lied so regularly.
It's funny, you know, Latrobe City Council had no idea it was a hotbed of leftism and finger waggers and censors and all that. What's going on down there?
I don't know. This is my second arbitration case. Unfortunately, I couldn't take that further to VCAT at the time because I couldn't afford personally to do that. But the evidence was quite clear that a lot.
God, how much are they paying their counsellors down in Latrobe? I don't think they're paying them anything, are they? Are they just take this woman, poor woman? Oh.
Of the ABC article that was put out about me also was incorrect, and the evidence proved that. But I've had to carry a lot of this shame and humiliation in my local community, which is not, I think, a good process. And where does it end? That's my question here, Andrew. Where does this end, the vilification of individuals?
Well, of course, it ends in the fact that you're not in charge anymore. They've met their ends. They're on to someone new. That's how it is. That's what bullies do. They bully until they don't have the person left to bully, either because they've gone, they killed themselves or whatever. And then they go look for someone else to bully. That's what they do. That's what they do. And we make it into a racket and call it politics.
Individuals over and over. I'm quite a strong woman, so that's, you know, another thing. But what if somebody wasn't? And where does it stop? I can understand it.
Right. Listen. This is one of the most important sentences that, you know, but what if somebody isn't, and where does it stop? You know, this is about everything I do. You know, I go and I complain about things sometimes. I'm complaining about someone's behavior, and like in the past I complained about my GP and stuff, and I've complained about local business or two. And when I do, I'm always thinking the fact that I know the people who live around me. I know the people who use these services as well. And I'm really coherent and really able to make a concise point. I'm able to write like 10,000 words long form articles all fully sourced up. I can really write a complaint letter, write the shit out of it. And it's always really stressful and really hard to do. Then what's it like for all those people who don't have the same ability as me? There's loads of people out there who are just stuck. They just don't complain. They don't complain because the system to complain to looks so daunting, is so daunting, is so distant from reality. And that is a really important thing. If we want to change our society, we got to be thinking about what about the people who can't do it? And then that leads you logically to get down to every point and say, oh, wait, it's all about the kids then. It's all about the kids. Even this debate, all of it, it's all about the kids.
Recognised discourse in society they want to correct, but where does the vilification of the individuals that they choose end? Now, we've seen frameworks like this right through history. Let's
welcome to the new world
around this, because we don't want to go down a Soviet-style system.
This is what we're doing, though. What she just said is actually spot on. What we're doing is going down some sort of technocratic communist style, communitarianism, bit of fascism thrown in, bit of capitalism, democracy mixed around in there, all pumping out all real shit at us all of the time. What do we want to walk into? We're going to walk into something where we have no control. They have all control. We don't even know what's real anymore. That's Elon Musk. That's Peter Thiel. That's your future. That's my future, unless we stop it.
I agree. I think if someone's got a problem with your tweets, then campaign on it in your election. Let the voters decide, not have the council decide what councillors may or may not say on their private social media accounts. I think it's disgraceful, but that's Victoria Today. Melissa Ferguson, thank you so much for fighting back.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
When did she fight back? She bent over. What are you talking about? Oh my God, these people.